Hello Internet, I'm your only mate, and it's time for a new episode of RWBY Volume 9. This is episode 7, The Perils of Paper Houses, as opposed to scissor houses. Or rock houses. Dumb joke. Much like most things I put out. And you also might notice that things are a little different, again. That being because I went and invested in a light. So you're going to be able to see my face a bit more clearly. Sorry. But we're not here to talk about my lighting, we're here to talk about RWBY, a show in which Little Red Riding Hood, Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, and Goldilocks find Joan of Arc in Wonderland and are looking for a way to escape. Name another show that has that happen. I'll bet you can't. And I would like to remind everyone that you can watch this along with me by watching it on Crunchyroll.com, or if you just want to support RWBY in general, you can watch it on Crunchyroll, Rooster Teeth, there's still things on YouTube. I think I heard recently that there are volumes on other streaming services. I can't quite remember. Manga, comics, video games, there's a board game. Support the show legally, okay? Anyway, on to the episode itself. And it starts with the first night's sleep the girls have had in years, honestly. I mean, for them it's only been a day or two, but good for them, they were finally able to take a nap. Jeez. And I do love the detail that Blake and Yang's mats are together now. It's a tiny background detail that makes me happy. And of course, this is as far as it'll go on screen. I mean, I could see them, cuddling, maybe. Or just, we see them just waking up in the same bed, but we're not going further than that. I mean, this isn't Gensuck. Oh, sorry. I mean Genlock Season 2. But while everyone is sleeping, RWBY is staring at Crescent Rose. Oh boy. But before that can be dwelled on for much longer, there is an explosion that wakes Jaune up. That's one hell of an alarm clock. I don't recommend it. He runs outside saying that he is late, and before the girls can even ask him what's happening, there's more explosions, and he rides into town. The girls grab their weapons and go after him to see the town on fire. And they're approached by a star person made of paper, asking how they can serve them. RWBY and Weiss have the appropriate response.
Serve us? Your town is on fire!
But these people say that, they have nothing to worry about because they have their hero. By any chance is this place named Metropolis? Because that would explain a lot. Jaune puts out the fire and he is celebrated as the town's hero. And we get an explanation on what this place is. These people are the Paper Pleasers, the kindest, most hospitable afterans around. But they're incredibly clumsy and predictable, demonstrated by Jaune catching one without even looking because he's been through this so much that he just knows. He hands one a couple of rocks and says, "Classic Ren," which confuses the girls, and Jaune explains that, he named each paper pleaser after everyone. The girls have the appropriate response, and honestly, I love Blake's the most. Not biased at all. Don't know what you're talking about. So as Jaune talks about what's to come, like a pebble tower toppling over, destroying a dam, and flooding the place, they've got some time, so how about brunch? We get to see a map of the Ever After that Jaune has made, and there are some acres that we haven't seen yet, but now I'm just curious. Okay, seriously, what is Blob? That's gonna keep me awake at night. And unfortunately, in all the time that he's been around in the Ever After, Jaune hasn't actually found a way out that isn't to do with the tree. He pulls out a list of his schedule of things that he has to sort out before he can even try and find a way home. And go back through the episode, keep pausing and reading through this list. There's a whole lot of things in there. Some actually quite hilarious, and others quite sad if you think about it too long. And Jaune's plan now is basically have Team RWBY just sort out the town while he rides Juniper around the Ever After to hopefully find a way back. And during all of this, Jaune punches the table much like Ironwood did and tells himself that this isn't crazy and that he's not crazy. Jaune brushes that little outburst aside and says that he'll introduce the girls to some of the clumsier paper pleasers. After he leaves, the girls talk about how this isn't really a good plan and how the tree is out of the question. And they're approached by a purple paper pleaser, who I'm assuming is the one named Blake, who tells the girls that the tree doesn't actually kill. And the paper pleasers have tried to tell Jaune this. In fact, we get a whole backstory on how the paper pleasers have fulfilled their purpose and want to return to the tree so they may ascend and move on to something else. Yeah, they've beautified this village so much, now they want to dust ox it. Low-hanging fruit, I know, but it was there. And we get a hand-drawn flashback of the paper pleasers trying to reach out to the tree, but Jaune stops them. And how they've talked about, I'm not even sure the best way to word this, but, freeing themselves of their physical forms. And Jaune stops them at every attempt, such as taking away scissors or lightning rods. And wait. Okay, not to make a bad joke out of this, but small adorable people who basically want to die. Okay, in all my time when I made those RWBY cracks, I never thought I'd be able to make this Asta movie reference out of RWBY in a way that made sense. But
that also makes them predictable. I told you to hold these.
But I want to die!
Classic Ren.
Am I wrong? So after Paper Blake leaves, regular Blake, aka Best Blake, has a talk with Weiss, and they recount how, while the tree doesn't kill from a certain perspective because it still erases memories of the beings that go to it and remakes them into something else, so it's kind of rebirth. But Jaune also doesn't really know what happened to Alex and Lewis, and the Curious Cat doesn't even know because they weren't there either. So at this point, it's kind of looking like the tree is just the best option, if anything, just to find out what happened. And they basically say that they can't really rely on Jaune because he's not all there, and oh, he's in the room. Oh. The gang have themselves a brief argument, and Jaune can't believe that they're actually listening to the cat, but Blake insists that they're not listening to them, they're listening to the paper pleasers. And Jaune basically just calls the paper pleasers' existence pointless and stupid in front of all of them. And when asked why is he even doing this, he shouts, because at least I can protect them. But before anything else can be said, his house blows up. And here come the Jabberwalkers. Jaune sets off to go and fight them, and Blake insists that the team won't run this time, with RWBY reluctant to go. And then we get a pretty awesome action scene. We get some Jaune and Weiss team up, which, okay, they don't do it a lot, so they're not, like, that in sync. So they make it work the best they can. Meanwhile, Blake and Yang fight in absolutely perfect sync, and oh my god, it's amazing. Look, these two have always fought in perfect sync, and just FYI, I'm going to single out this particular frame for no particular reason. Or reasons. But yeah, seeing them fight in sync on that level after the confession, the kiss, and everything, it just hits differently, and I love it. But that is the last, happy takeaway I have from this episode, because the rest, oh boy, I'm not good at talking about this sort of thing, but bear with me. Ruby's just not fighting. She just can't do it, and she's attacked by a Jabberwalker all while she's having a panic attack. During said panic attack, she sees Cinder, Penny, and Salem as the Jabberwalker pins her to the ground, and we get this shot. Oh god. Like, seriously, like, go back through the episode and just go to this shot and just the amount of crazy detail. Like, you can even see, like, the veins in her eyeballs. Like, oh, it's really unsettling. Thankfully, before anything can happen, the rest of the team fight off the Jabberwalker that pinned Ruby. Which then shifts, contorts, and turns into Neo, who does a finger gun and shatters like glass to disappear. Blake comments that is so much stronger than Neo's usual tricks, and Yang asks, how did she get so strong? Well, you see, Yang, that's because... Oh yeah, it's because the script says so. Jaune shouts at Ruby while attempting to hand her Crescent Rose, but she backs away and lets it fall to the ground. I was not prepared for that. And before anyone can ask Ruby if she's okay, the Pebble Tower falls, destroys the dam, and the Paper Village is flooded, which, yeah, that's not good for Jaune. Weiss, Blake, and Yang do try to comfort him by saying it's what they wanted, that they'll be back, they're not really gone. This has kind of been a long time coming. Ruby's just had it. Like, every single thing this girl has had to go through, and it's all gotten to this boiling point. And even, like, in the Ever After, it's, like, the priority is all about someone or something else. It's never about, like, how she feels, how, like, she's doing. And she takes out on everyone, on, like, why she has to be the leader, like, because she has to have something to say or some kind of a plan, even though she doesn't. Or how, like, she has to stay positive, like, no matter what. Shouts at Weiss, then Blake and Yang. And upon saying that they're just mourning Jaune's make-believe friends, Jaune's had enough and shouts at Ruby, saying that everything is all her fault. And that the only reason Neo, like, did any of that is because she hates her, and everything is about her. And that face Ruby makes, like... kudos to the animators is all I can say. Jaune does apologize though, and just says that he knows he's not all there. And how could he not be with all the time that he spent alone, and after what he had to do on the bridge. And I'll be honest, it's at this point I thought it was actually going to come out that Jaune did what he did. But what makes it worse is that I just don't... he doesn't say it. And the thing is, now I know that's still not been said, and Ruby still potentially has yet to find out. And Blake tries to calm the situation down, but Ruby just tells her to shut up. And with her tears streaming down her face, just tells everyone, just don't. Before grabbing Crescent Rose and leaving. And that's the end of the episode. Okay, this episode. The best way I can describe how I felt is it's like the animators reached into my chest, pulled my heart out, punched it a few times, and then shoved it back in. Because, ow. Like, mad kudos to Lindsay and Miles for these performances this episode. And it's just, like, just seeing those breakdowns. And I gotta say kudos to the writers, because this is how you write an argument between good characters. And what I mean by that is that, honestly, this whole time, neither side is in the right. And neither side is in the wrong. It's just, like, a whole bunch of, like... It's a whole bunch of, like, grey areas. Everyone's going through so much, and... It just... I don't really know how else to word it. We have 3 episodes left, and Ruby's off on her own. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Like, now I really think Blake is going to take over as team leader for a little bit. And it's also kind of hinted at in this episode, because, like, she was the one in the lead whenever the team went off somewhere. And she's just been taking charge of, like, so much this season. So, yeah, I feel like, especially after, like, her and Yang have sorted out their thing, like, it just makes sense for Blake to lead the team for a little bit. We've still got Ruby finding out what happened to Penny. And honestly, the fact that that wasn't brought up this episode, it kind of makes the situation hurt a little bit more. Because, well, yeah, Ruby's at this breaking point and she's had a breakdown, which has been a long time coming. There's still that extra thing that she doesn't know yet. There's Neo still around, who is just tearing apart the Ever After, searching for her. And they've still got to find a way back. And there's something that Max and I have talked about, and it's about Jaune. How, honestly, like, I hate, like, this, what I'm about to talk about. And it's the potential, a very strong potential of Jaune dying in the Ever After. Because it's kind of being set up that way. And how, like, he's always wanted to be the hero. And how... Like, depending on how the tree works in terms of getting back, I could see it as being, like, Jaune sacrificing himself so that the team can get back and, in a way, instill, like, some form of hope back in Ruby. Also, we still have yet to find out what Little's purpose is. Which... yeah, there's a fair amount of things to do in the last 3 episodes. So, all those times I've said I've been worried for Ruby, yeah, now more than ever, but the only real comfort I can take is that, well, she's had her breakdown. And, yeah, she said some things to the group, and, look, I imagine, like, once everything's, like, you know, sorted out, and she can work on, like, you know, healing and whatnot, like, one of the first things she's gonna do is apologize. And of course, like, the girls are gonna apologize for, you know, maybe not doing as much as they could have done. Like, yeah, there's gonna be, like, a tearful apology scene for the whole group. Yeah, Volume 9 is, one hell of a ride. And we'll see, we'll see how it all we'll see how it all ends. I'm gonna wrap this up, and yeah, I don't have too much else to say. Other than, like, thanks for watching, all that stuff, and as a little countdown, because there's, like, 3 episodes left, gonna do my RWBY outros in reverse order. So, here's Yang. Bye.
Thanks for watching You're Only Made on YouTube. You rock! Thanks for watching!
Okay, this episode, the best way I can describe how I felt, it's like the animators reached into my chest. Shut up, Siri. No one asked for your opinion.